Good evening, and thank you for joining us on your Labor Day. I'm Alicia Machado. Chris and Laura are off tonight. Tonight, a man is in the hospital fighting for his life after a firework exploded in his hands. The Sacramento Fire Department is now warning others of the dangers of fireworks. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias joins us live from the area where this all happened in North Sacramento. Roxanne, what are you hearing from neighbors there?
Well, Alicia, neighbors who live here say they could hear someone lighting fireworks late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. It happened here just across from a few homes here in the area. And if you take a look, you could see about half an acre was burned. For firefighters on scene, it was a horrific scenario. They say this is the worst firework injury they have seen in years, and they don't know if the man will survive.
Nah, this is terrible. It's terrible. It's bad. Yeah, it's bad. I haven't seen anything like this.
While on a walk with his son, Ontarius Wormsley points out the damage from a grass fire Sunday morning. Sacramento Fire says the call came in around 8 a.m. near Rose Street and Vincy Avenue.
When they arrived, they noticed the victim with severe injuries to his hands as well as chest. The brother reported that they were camping out here when in the nighttime they saw a firework fall from the sky. The brother then went out and grabbed this firework and tried to relight this firework in his hands.
Captain Justin Sylvia says that's when it exploded in his hands, causing severe injuries to both hands and his chest.
I mean, it's scary because that couldn't happen to anybody. You know, we have a lot of kids on the trails.
The battalion chief on scene did see these injuries, and he's been on this fire department for over 20 years. And he did describe this was one of the worst firework injuries that he had ever seen in his career.
The man in his 20s was transported to the hospital. At last check, he is reportedly in critical condition. Captain Sylvia says this example shows how threatening fireworks can be any time of the year. Although the fire department hasn't received many calls about fireworks lately, they know people are still lighting them.
Fireworks are explosives, so they're very dangerous to handle. If they have a malfunction, do not try to relight it. Dispose of it properly, preferably in a bucket of water. Let it sit overnight so it does not have the potential to reignite.
Wormsley says his heart goes out to the young man and his family.
You know what's sad is they tell me he was young and his life is going to be forever changed. If you lose the loss of both your hands, chest cavity, I mean, now you're going to need a caregiver for the rest of your life. All this over lighting some fireworks is not worth it. It's terrible. It's not worth it.
Sac Fire is now investigating the incident and trying to figure out who that firework belonged to. Now, remember, you can report some of that firework activity if you see it. You could either download the Sac Fire app or you can call their arson tip line. I'm live in North Sacramento. Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
A very important reminder. Roxanne, thank you.
We start tonight with controversy at the state capitol. State lawmakers wrapped up their legislative year over the weekend, but it was not without protest over the state's landmark reparations bill. Two bills did not get a final vote. ABC 10's Becca Habegger joins us in studio with what happened and what could come next.
You know, Alex, many supporters of reparations for Californians who are descendants of chattel slavery in the U.S. feel outraged tonight. That's after Assembly members refused to bring to a vote on Saturday two bills that would have created the infrastructure for meaningful reparations.
Supporters of reparations gathered at the Capitol Saturday in support of two key bills by Senator Stephen Bradford, who sat on the California Reparations Task Force. The task force met over the course of 2 years, hearing from the public and experts on the long-lasting effects of chattel slavery on Black Americans. Last summer, members published their final report of more than 1,000 pages and more than 100 recommendations.
We're 160 years overdue for this.
On Saturday, Senator Bradford hoped his Assembly colleagues would put his two key reparations bills up for a vote. Senate Bill 1403 would have created the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, tasked with implementing reparations and determining eligibility. Senate Bill 1331 would have established the Fund for Reparations and Reparative of justice to eventually pay for the various forms of reparations. Neither of these bills included cash payments for recipients of reparations. And neither of these bills went up for a vote in the final hours of the legislative session, effectively killing them for the year.
We owe it to our ancestors, and I think we disappointed them in a way by at least not having the floor vote and letting the people decide, let the legislators decide whether it should have gone to the governor's desk versus holding the bills.
This session, the California Legislative Black Caucus published a list of 14 bills as part of its reparations package. But Bradford's 2 bills that brought supporters out on Saturday were not among the 14. In a statement, the caucus wrote, in part, members have chosen to concentrate our collective energy on the legislative priorities that the entire caucus has voted on and those that positively impact Black Californians. We remain committed to our long-term goals and recognize that this is a multi-year effort. 9 of the caucus's 14 priority bills passed the legislature, including a formal apology from the state for human rights violations and crimes against humanity on African slaves and their descendants.
An apology is not reparations. Nobody can't eat no apology. Nobody can pay their rent with no apology.
Chris Lodgson with the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California says he is outraged the California Legislative Black Caucus didn't bring Senator Bradford's 2 bills up for votes.
It's disrespectful and it's disgusting. I consider it a betrayal of the people.
And Becca, from what we are hearing, there are plans to try again next session, right?
That's right. Yeah, Alex, supporters of Bradford's 2 bills say they're going to fight for this next year, though Senator Bradford is now termed out and no longer able to serve. One of the reparations bills the California Legislative Black Caucus passed is actually something you'll see on your ballot, now called Proposition 6. It would change the wording of the California Constitution, which currently outlaws all forms of slavery except for the involuntary servitude of inmates.
All right, Becca, thank you for the update. And we will keep you updated at home.
Vice President Kamala Harris has been facing questions about what her economic policies will be if she wins the presidential election. Harris has said she supports the policies recently proposed by President Biden in his 2025 budget. One of those policies includes a tax on something called unrealized gains. Some posts online claim that means if the value of your home goes up, you'd have to pay taxes on that increase, even if you don't sell it. We got numerous questions from viewers asking if that's true, so let's verify. Our sources: the 2025 White House budget proposal, the Treasury Department, the Henley & Partners USA Wealth Report, and the Tax Foundation. This tax would only apply to people with a net worth of at least $100 million. That's the top 0.01% of Americans, a bracket that includes less than 10,000 people. So we can verify, no, the Biden-Harris unrealized gains tax proposal does not mean ordinary Americans would have to pay a tax if the value of their home goes up. Biden's proposal would tax ultra-rich people at a rate of 25% of their total wealth. To determine that, they'd have to report the value of their assets to the IRS each year. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
All right, turning now to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. We are going to talk weather as folks are heading home. They are going to have to prepare for some weather impact alert days.
That's right. Big heat heading back, unofficial wrap to summer today. And it's been beautiful. Temperatures in the 80s largely throughout the valley. But now we quickly turn our attention to those weather impact alert days. Big temperature increase. Highs back in the 100s with major to extreme heat risk in the forecast. Today we have those more mild conditions for the valley because of these southwest winds. Now they are going to back off for tonight, and it will also ease some of the fire risk in the Sierra. Then we get those northwest winds, dry, warming winds, and we're quickly going to accelerate those temperatures into the 90s to near 100. We're already into the moderate heat risk for tomorrow throughout much of the valley towards the Delta and the East Bay communities. And then by Wednesday and Thursday, we start expanding the major heat risk, even some pockets of extreme heat risk, especially for the East Bay and then parts of the Mother Lode. We'll continue to see major heat risk, especially for the foothills, and some pockets of extreme heat risk again into our Friday. We're also going to bring in some higher fire danger. So much to unpack here. In the Big Mountain backyard, though, wrapping up this Labor Day. Hope you had a great 3-day weekend. Temperatures in the 80s right now for Sacramento and Stockton, low 90s for Modesto and Marysville. Tahoe, sunny skies and 75 degrees. But again, we have that red flag warning in this here until 8 o'clock tonight. Look at how quick we warm things up. We start at 60 degrees tomorrow morning with our sunrise at 6:38. By noontime, we're already into the 80s and low 90s. And then for that peak heat, close to 100 tomorrow afternoon. Sunset just after 7:30. So our low pressure system that brought the onshore flow quickly moving off to the east, replaced by this big ridge of high pressure. And then we start bringing in that chance of showers and thunderstorms for this year. That's what's going to elevate once again the fire danger by later this week into the beginning of the weekend. The potential for lightning and tracking that fire danger all throughout the Sierra Spine and then also towards the coastal range as well. Looking at those temperatures for tomorrow, back to work and school, highs near 80 for the Sierra, 80s and 90s down low with a couple of 100s starting to pop up here for Oroville and Ione. Across the coast, we're warming as well. 84 for San Francisco tomorrow. Head inland, we're back into the 100s after 80s this afternoon. Widespread 90s to near 100 throughout the Central Valley. Morning lows in the 50s. So those mornings are actually quite nice. It's just the afternoons that warm up so quickly. Highs will warm into the 80s by the middle and end of the week for the Sierra. But again, we're going to be tracking that chance for thunderstorms Friday and Saturday. Highs near 100 for the foothills. And then for the coast, we're very toasty Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs in the 80s, a little cooler by the time we get to Friday and Saturday. Weather impact, we've got those alert days, at least for the first couple of days here on Wednesday and Thursday in the 3-day forecast. But again, I am going to expand that into our Friday because highs, quite frankly, are still going to be right around 103. Plus, we have that element in the Sierra of that higher fire danger growing. We'll be tracking that. Highs will moderate somewhat by the end of the weekend, but more so into next week, Alicia.
Oh, we just got to get over that little hill before we can have that nice decline.
And while we're doing it, we're going to complain about it, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, yeah. We got to focus on that, the positive. All right. Thank you, Monica.
According to the CDC, California's wastewater has reached a very high level for COVID-19 activity for the first time since last winter. As we celebrate Labor Day, we have with us Dr. Michael Vollmer with Kaiser Permanente on best ways to stay healthy this holiday. Good morning, doctor. Let's start with the why. Why are we seeing this increase in COVID-19 activity, and what is causing the surge?
Sure. It's, whether we like to hear it or not, COVID has never gone away. And COVID-19 is a disease here to stay in our population. We have seen these surges in community spread every 3 to 4 months. We had a lull after the winter in April. We were experiencing extremely low numbers at that point. And unfortunately, since then, through May, June, July, now into August, we've seen spread of the disease in the community. Overall, it's a mild illness for most, but it really is most threatening to those that are over the age of 65 or may have compromised immune systems.
And when it comes to vaccinations, who should get a booster, and are shots available?
Yes, that's a great question. So the opportunity is there for folks to get vaccinated. The federal government just approved both Pfizer and Moderna's formulation for COVID-19 vaccination, changing it to keep up with changes in this virus as it mutates and changes through our population. It's really important, again, for those populations that are older, over 65, have compromised immune systems, to try to think about getting another vaccination for this coming season, particularly looking towards the fall and winter. People should be talking with their doctors about when those vaccines will be available, which should be coming up in September and certainly by October. If you've recently had COVID, you can probably, after you've recovered, relax. You're going to have some boost in immunity for at least 3 months. But then again, if you are in one of those higher risk categories or have other chronic disease, be reaching out to your physician to talk about the opportunity to get vaccinated.
And this has been a really big question from our viewers. If you've had COVID recently, should you wait to get the shot?
I think that's probably a good idea for most. I think you want to probably wait for some period for at least 8 to 12 weeks, 2 to 3 months, to allow what happens with COVID is your immunity over time wanes. And so if you've had COVID or if you've got vaccinated, by the time you get out to 3, particularly 6 to 12 months later, your immunity is going to have waned, and you're going to be, again, very susceptible to the virus. And particularly as the virus keeps mutating, it keeps moving through the population, both here in the United States, California, across the globe, and it keeps changing. So we need to keep up with it, and that's why the new vaccine formulations are coming out for this fall. So really speak with your doctor, again, if you're in one of those high-risk categories, and if you need that opportunity to get vaccinated again. In the interim, you can also just sort of stay safe. If you're sick, we always advise folks to stay home. Try to not go to that party. Don't go to work. Utilize your sick leave. When you feel better, probably better to be able to go out. If there's any question, you can mask. That prevents getting other people from getting sick. And then good hand washing all the time. That helps prevent the spread of these respiratory viruses.
And you kind of spoke on it, but I do want to prompt you with this because we know a lot of people will be gathering for Labor Day. How can they stay safe if they plan to have family, young and old, around?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to check on yourself. If you're not feeling good, I know it's always hard, but, think of other folks and try to stay home. And then in terms of your own health, getting plenty of sleep, eating well, washing your hands. And then again, if for big gatherings, like outdoors is always going to be a safer spot than indoors. So, have that picnic in the shade, enjoy Labor Day, and enjoy it. I mean, we don't want people to shelter and not get out there and enjoy life. We want people out there exercising, eating healthy, all those good things, maintaining good relationships, keeping up with family. But when you're sick, stay home if you can. You're really going to protect your loved ones and friends from getting ill as well.
And speaking of getting sick, if you test positive, what are the current guidelines on when you can go without a mask or are no longer contagious?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so in the community, the CDC has really tried to group COVID at this point with other respiratory illnesses. And if after 24 hours you're feeling better, your fever has gone away, you're not feeling sicker, they advise that you can consider going out. Now, again, in that sort of early scenario within those first few days, if you're going to be around other people, it would be helpful to mask as well. Particularly, that's going to prevent any potential for additional spread for those several days after you first get sick. But really, it's that 24-hour period when you're feeling well, no fever, you feel that energy coming back, that you can get out and about again per the CDC guidelines.
Great advice there, and we cannot stress enough, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. This COVID-19 surge is here, and we just want everybody to be safe. We appreciate your time.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, this Labor Day weekend, one of the busiest travel weekends of the year, of course, and AAA says the best way to avoid traffic is to leave this morning by 10.
Okay, that means filling up the gas tank early as well. Gas prices in California have gone down over the past year. Still, the state has the highest gas prices in the country. According to AAA, it's around $4.65 per gallon across the state. This is an improvement from a year ago, where gas cost nearly $5.50 per gallon. Although prices are curbing down in the state, California still has the highest average cost per gallon in the country. The states of Hawaii and Washington are the only other states with prices above $4 a gallon.
California Governor Newsom is calling for a special session of the legislature. He made that announcement Saturday.
He says he wants to address gas prices and save people money at the pump.
ABC 10's Candace Red is at the state capitol with more on this story. Candace, good morning.
Good morning. We know that August 31st is supposed to be the last day for lawmakers to pass bills. But again, Governor Gavin Newsom is calling on a special session, and that's specifically to address high gas prices. Now, as we mentioned earlier in the show, California has the highest rates at the pump with an average of $4.65 a gallon. Compare that to the national average of $3.33. All of that information coming straight from AAA. Now, the possibility of a special session is dividing Democrats. Some are for it, others not so much.
We need to have a very deliberative public process to discuss these issues. Doing it in a week's time, in 2 or 3 days, that's irresponsible.
The Senate for weeks now has been saying, and we do have the votes. We were prepared to be able to take the votes on the California Made and the energy package. That is why we're not going to be convening the special session here in the fall.
Now, many Republicans say that the session should not happen as well. Senate Republican leader Brian Jones said Newsom is just, quote, trying to get a splashy headline, end quote there. Well, Newsom says he wants lawmakers to pass a package of energy bills. That includes, we know that it would authorize the California Energy Commission to require that petroleum refineries maintain a minimum fuel reserve. That's specifically to avoid supply shortages that create higher gas prices. By the way, this isn't the first time that Newsom has called on a special session. We know that this is the second time in 2 years that he's done this, again, all focused on gas prices. The 2022 special session ended with a law that gave state regulators the power to penalize oil companies for making too much money. In Sacramento, Candace Red, ABC 10.
All right, Candace, thank you. Appreciate that. Well, it is Labor Day, and a lot of people are not working, and maybe they're thinking of something to do. And thank you for joining us this morning, and we do appreciate that. You could probably make it to the Napa Valley, actually, to enjoy a full day in wine country on this Labor Day holiday.
That's true. Best part about living in Northern California, you have Napa and Tahoe at your fingertips.
That's right.
And if you want to go to Brasswood Estate, Marcus Allen says that may be the place to be.
Yeah, good morning and happy Labor Day. Are you looking for a quick last-minute getaway? Might I suggest Napa? One, it's harvest season. That means there are a ton of great things going on. And two, there's a cave system underneath Mount St. Helena that you can actually go in, pretty much get lost as you explore millions upon millions of dollars of wine headed out to all over America. Check it out. One of the leading purveyors of wine is Marcus Marquez, Brasswood Estate founder. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
What's going on here?
Right now I'm thieving out some wine just to taste it, to make sure that it's being healthy and stewards of the wine. So wine in the barrel, wine in the glass.
What's cool, it's kind of a who's who of wine in this cave. Yes. Now, technically above us, Mount St. Helena, and right across the home of Brasswood. But if you check out those barrels that have the logo,
Dark Matter.
Yeah, who's that?
This is the Mondavi sisters. So our winemaker is Angelina Mondavi, 4th generation. And this is a project her and her sisters do, Dark Matter, from her family estate.
Mondavi, you're such a name dropper. Speaking of name dropping, hey, follow us up in here. So if you were to come over to Napa, maybe not today, but in the future, you want to check this out. A veritable who's who of the world have been inside this dining room. Across the street, Ryan Seacrest hosts a home. It's no stranger to his parties and celebrations. Name some names that have been in this room.
Gosh, well, without giving too many.
Without violating privacy, I can tell you stuff I know because I saw it on their Instagrams. The Kardashians were in here, Billie Eilish, celebrities, dignitaries from all over the world. What makes the wine so good here?
What makes the wine so good here is that it's 100% variety to the bottle. So 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, 100% Cab Franc, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, just true textbook Napa Valley flavors.
Sweet. And, you know, I was talking to him, hey, it's Labor Day. People that aren't necessarily drawn just to wine taste, should they come? And Marcus said, there's an award-winning bike trail. The ribbon was just cut.
Yes, we just activated the Vine Trail, a bike trail that starts from St. Helena, goes all the way to Calistoga. And the beauty of this bike trail is that you get to actually ride your bike through vineyards, which is nowhere else in the world I think you can do that.
That is awesome. So if they're coming over for Labor Day, stopping by Brasswood, don't miss Brasswood without trying what?
The Cabernet Franc. Right now it's just drinking beautifully.
Yeah, you can say that, but I will tell you they make their own mozzarella cheese that is crazy awesome. All right, cheers to you, my friend. I'm driving. I'll have a hunk of these, and happy Labor Day.
Weekday mornings on ABC 10.
I know what we're doing.
We're getting you ready.
Oh, you're going to know first.
About the breaking news that affects you.
What happened overnight right here in Northern California.
And across America.
Plus my 10-day forecast helping you plan and keeping you safe.
That's how we do mornings.
So you're ready to take on the day.
ABC 10 Morning News.
And Good Morning America.
Right here on ABC 10.
See you weekday mornings starting at 5.
California weather is a land of extremes.
From dangerous heat, droughts, and wildfire.
To severe storms, flooding, and mountains of snow.
Plus, the occasional tornado.
Keeping you prepared takes a team.
We have decades of experience forecasting this diverse region.
Our job doesn't stop at the forecast.
We investigate what's happening to our climate so you can be ready.
Helping you prepare for today and stay safe tomorrow. With a weather team you can trust, only on ABC 10.
Hi, I'm Alex Bell. Join me weeknights at 6:30 on To The Point.
Instead of just reporting on the problems, we cut through the noise and look for solutions. We're not afraid to investigate local stories. We're not afraid to include different perspectives. We're not afraid to hold those in power accountable. This is your community, and it's my community too, and we're here to make it better for everyone. Join me, Alex Bell, on To The Point, weeknights at 6:30, only on ABC 10.